Go, it's coming live right now. It's live. There we go. Everybody, we're live. Oh, look at that cigar.
Now
You
this
want to
is a
tell? Yeah, let me
Swiss
go
edition
list.
gifted to me by Urs. Urs is visiting right now. So
Yes, he is.
Urs and Victor are visiting right now from the Switzerland.
From the Switzerland.
As usual, the
Yeah,
moment recording starts, people feel like giving
yeah.
me phone calls. I'm going to put them all on silent.
I would put them on silent because, this is a very important show. I don't know if you
Well, I
realize
know
that.
you have ways of
Uh,
silencing people. That's something else.
yeah, you know how it goes. I'm a super Jew. That's what we do. And I just want to say it's the first Saturday after Ramadan. I wish I could be smoking a cigar, but the outside studio right now is getting pummeled by rain. And we are going to be smoking, or I'm going to be smoking next week, a Don Emmanuel, which is a non-Cuban, I'm sorry, but it's out of Miami. And they were nice enough to send me array of cigars. So I will be smoking a Don Emmanuel next week and review it live on the air. So we want to thank them right off the bat. Look at
And
were you
that's
a
the
moil
cut.
now? All of a sudden, look at this. Ay, ay, ay.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
like a
feel a
little
Moyle
moil.
wouldn't have been that clean. Now that is the
Nice,
that
very
is the.
nice.
Let's see what it's like with a dry draw.
Okay, see what it's like with a dry draw. It's very exciting. Oh, he's gonna have an orgasm.
What is
You realize
wonderful
people.
is
Mhm.
after a while when you do dry draws on a cigar. I mean proper cigars, not
Yeah.
that shit that you guys
Oh,
smoke in the USA.
right. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks.
No, honestly, when you do a dry draw
Mhm.
on these Cuban
Yeah.
uh, cigars, you can gauge two things instantly. I mean, sophisticated cigar smokers get a lot more, right? But you can get
All right.
two
All right.
things very quickly. So when you draw, you could
Yeah.
feel
Dry.
if you could feel the air rushing through the cigar into your mouth, you can almost your human senses are that refined. You can detect how heavy or light that cigar is in terms of how
Mhm.
loosely packed or how densely packed it is. Because I think the combination of how fast, how much air you're getting, and the intensity of flavor gives you a bit of indication of how well the cigar is packed or how loosely it's packed. Okay, that's one thing.
Right.
And the other thing is when you draw and you've got decent draw,
Right.
you get a hint of the flavors that are to come, at least on the light up. Because flavors are
Okay.
complex, aromas are complex, they can change throughout the cigar. Some cigars are linear, but you get a hint. So I'll tell you what I get a hint on this one. So this is the Swiss edition punch. I don't know the name of this Vitola. Someone's going to write it, and I suspect that there is a very well experienced sommelier who's going to come to the program in a
At some
moment.
point, you think he would show up, right? You know.
Yeah, I need to take a photo of this as I'm holding it here. Can
Okay.
you take a photo?
I can't. Can I? I can't. You can. You're a professional.
Like to pretend to be a professional.
Well, it's like you're carried away.
Hang on. Let me try and do this. Let me try.
Okay. You take a. The good thing is Usman's not here, and this is the fun part of the show where whatchamacallit, we just kind of do our thing. So
What you
there's
call it? That's such an English expression. What you call it? What's his face? You know when you can't remember someone's name, you say, "What's his face? What's his face?"
yeah. Yeah.
That's what you say. What's his face?
What's his
And
face? Whatchamacallit? Yeah. My
yeah, what
favorite
you
word is
call it?
whatchamacallit. So
Oh, uh,
my favorite word is whatchamacallit, just so we're clear.
cheers, cheers.
Just so we're clear.
You seem very distracted at this moment. Very intensely
Well,
distracted. I think you got. I
here we
think you're
go. Go
another
ahead.
screen going.
So here's what happened. We released the Lost Dollar Business Club today. And we had a guy on that's talking about cybersecurity and U.S. politics. It's a fascinating show if you're into all that. And apparently they gave me the misspelling of his word. So I just got a text message from one of our guys. He goes, "You spelled his word wrong." So what I had to do while we're talking is go back into all the feeds and correct it. So, our esteemed guest doesn't have a heart attack. So there you go. And there you
So
have
what
it.
you're
So
saying
now
to me
I'm
is you're working on another program whilst recording this one. Is that what you're saying?
not intentionally, my friend, not intentionally. But I did hear what
Oh,
you said about the dry draw. And I will tell you something. With the non-Cubans, I can get the same kind of feel from the dry draw as well. I always do a dry draw before I light up, just to get a feel for the cigar.
Yeah,
I can
but
do that
there's
with the
a
Cuban and a non-Cuban, and I've done that with Cubans. And I will tell you, the girls in South Florida love it when you do a dry draw. So just so you know. But I'm here till Saturday. Tip your wait staff. So
I'm aware of this dynamic, by the way.
I'm aware you are. So now here's the other question. Our sommelier, it won't probably be here for another 10 or 15 minutes because, God forbid he would be early. He's been
Well,
gone for a month.
I think he's got a lot of prep work to do because, as far as I recall, on this show he's doing a little bit of unboxing. So I would imagine
Oh.
if he's going to do it, he's just prepping up. Like a great drummer preps up with all the drums, tests them, tests
Yes.
where they are.
But you know what? He's not going to, he said, because he's already done it all. And I was like, oh, well, that kind of sucks for the fans. So he sent me pictures, and I'm like, I'm not going to show pictures. They want to see the actual unboxing. And if you can't control your childish impulses and couldn't just not touch that for 30 days until you came on the show, the fans will hate you. It's just the way it works.
It is what it is. Um,
I will tell you last week's show about UFOs and spacemen and time continuum and all that did very well on the podcast side, and the shorts have been doing very well as well. So people were fascinated by the by that show. Just to let you know, and I've kept the green curtain for the Wizard of Oz / Wicked theme.
Now, I feel they were fascinated. I think this is a trend thing. By the way, let me just reset this.
Okay.
I have my own housekeeping to do, if they say.
Oh my God.
Housekeeping in the sense of Wi-Fi and internet and all that kind of stuff.
Oh my God. This is such a professional show. It's a good thing no
No,
one's
I
watching
never
yet.
have that problem. You've
I know you
noticed
don't.
I've never have a Wi-Fi issue.
You are a
Just because,
consummate professional. I am not. So, and I'm very upset that I
no,
don't get
I
to
don't
do.
believe you've had. I don't believe
I'm
you've had Wi-Fi issues.
No, I have several gerbils that run around a wheel, but I'm very upset that I don't get to do the Don Emmanuel review today. So, but I may do one. I smoke one during the week because they got here Wednesday, and so I had to put them in the humidor to start curing because they didn't send them with like a humid pack. So by next Saturday it should be good. So I may smoke one midweek and I'll post it on Instagram, let you know my
So,
thoughts. But I
so
will
these Don,
smoke the Churchill
so
on.
you're saying these Don Emmanuels are out of Miami?
They're done. We follow each other on LinkedIn, and he did this new release, and I was reading the description of it, and it was said it has floral, and it reminded me right off the bat of the Davidoff Year of the Snake. So I sent him a little note that said, we have your family, send cigars, and he's like, keep the family. I was like, damn it. So we returned the family anyway,
And on that note,
and
look what I found.
the Year of the Snake,
I
Davidoff. There
found
you
it
go.
errantly sitting in one of my jacket pockets. It must have
Jackets,
been this jacket that I was smoking the cigar
smoking it
in,
in.
and for some reason it just stayed there.
So it worked out
Uh,
well for the show. But yeah,
that,
so
by the
I
way,
said
that is
to
this. That's this week's smoke. That's
let's take a
this
look
week.
at this week's. Oh, look at that. That's a beauty. There you go, everybody.
So the week's smoke goes in this small ashtray, and then I
Okay.
empty it into the big, not ashtray, receptacle.
Right, right, right.
But that Davidoff isn't this week's smoke. It just happens to be sitting there because it
I'm
came
there.
out of the.
Have in my pocket. So anyway, on Don Emmanuel, they sent me cigars, which was very nice of them. And I was like very excited, but they have to cure a little bit. So I was going to review the Churchill this today and smoke it live on the show. But because we have torrential and when it rains here, it rains sideways. So it's not like I can sit outside and enjoy the smoke and not get wet. I will get stopped. And so will all the technical
In
gear. So I
Texas,
figured, okay.
it rains sideways.
It's Texas is screwed up.
Is it?
Remember, in Texas, when husband and wife divorce, they're still brother and sister. So everything here is a little weird. So it's just one of those things.
That's the
But
way
yeah,
it is.
that's the
That's
way
the
it
way.
is. So I figure I'm just going to wait till next Saturday and smoke the Churchill. But he sent me a tin of cigars like, EGM has, which are very nice. And then they sent me some small little Robustos that I'm going to try. But I'll do the Robustos during the week, post them on Instagram. But next Saturday, I will smoke their Churchill live on the air. And then this way, they, as well as everybody else, will figure out if it's a good cigar or not. There you go. So there you have it. So yes,
So
so Usman won't be doing an unboxing. So what do you want to talk about? Well, wait, we talked about the dry draw, which I actually do, and I was very excited that you brought that up because I'm a sommelier myself.
the
So,
dry draw. So the dry draw
yeah,
is depending on your palate and depending
right.
how sophisticated a cigar smoker you are. Actually, you know what? It's always about, forget the process. It's always about how do I extract the most flavor, the
Right.
oils, enjoyment out of a cigar. You could play with a cigar. You know, some people just play with their cigar like
Yep.
this, whatever, whatever, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. It's really how you become one with that product, really. It's
Right.
like, uh, so one of the reasons, perhaps, to speak a little bit seriously before Usman comes on, one of the reasons
Right.
I don't particularly like New World cigars is perhaps they are a victim of their own success. The success part being is, generally speaking, New World cigars are rolled really well, they're
Mhm.
constructed really well. Generally speaking, one of the
Right.
good
Right.
aspects of New World cigars is they're kind of consistent, they're consistently made, they're consistent, I would say consistently bad in terms of quality, but that's actually quite nasty on my part because people go to a great amount, great lengths to make what they think is a great product. So
Right.
that's like me saying, as I've said before, like a Toyota is a shit car. Toyota isn't a shit car. Toyota is an excellent car. It's just not on that range. You
Right.
know
Right.
what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be an unsnobbish snob, and it's sort of a mixture of
Oxymoron.
terms. But here it is. When you do a dry draw on something like most New World cigars, either you
Right.
get nothing,
Right.
right, or you get like a very acerbic, very cedary, sort of literally the dead leaf. Like if you literally picked up dead leaves off the
Yeah.
ground, right? Imagine it's autumn and the oaks are shedding or whatever, wherever you are in the world, and the leaves are. You pick them up and you smell them, and if you burnt them, they would just be acerbic.
Right.
And that's what I don't find any sophistication or refinement in New World cigars.
Right.
It's back to this thing that we've said it so many bloody times, is that this Cuban leaf is a bit of a sophisticated leaf. It
Right.
has
Right.
a, I don't know how they've done it. I don't know how it's developed. It's just a higher product.
Right.
And therefore, on a dry draw, that's a dry draw for anyone who's still trying to work it out. Is a draw when you've just cut the cigar, you haven't lit it, you draw through it just to see whether you're getting the flow of air going through. Really, that was the
Right.
whole purpose.
That's
But
it.
in
Yeah.
doing that, you get some idea of how loosely or densely that cigar is packed, and you also get a little bit of a hint of flavor. And some people will dry draw 2 or 3 times because they really enjoy it. And I'm beginning to do that quite a lot as well. I enjoy that.
I dry draw. I dry draw. It's usually before we go on air, I light up, but I dry draw several times when I smoke a cigar, just to get one, to your point. I want to see how the draw is going to be, or if it's going to be like one of those cigars I have to fight with. And two, I do it to see if I can get any flavor out of it. So, and I
And
was
then
hoping to do that today. So,
And the other thing is, my thing is to try and cut the cigar as little as possible now.
yep,
So it's been a bit of a journey.
yeah,
And the purpose of cutting it and doing a dry draw, you just gauge, well, hang on, should I cut it a little bit more because is it just a little bit blocked? You know what I mean?
right, right,
Just you, if you're getting to be a sophisticated cigar smoker or an experienced cigar smoker, those little things those little 2-3% increments of enjoyment really do matter because you're searching and searching and searching.
right,
It's like trying to get 2 or 3 miles per hour extra out of the F40 that you're cornering at 180.
right, right.
If you can
And
push it a little bit more, you can hear those tires squeak a little bit more. There's a little bit more adrenaline. There's a little bit, you know what I mean?
I do. I'm going to be watching F1 tonight. They're in Japan, so it'll be very good. Godzilla will be chasing the cars. I can't wait. So yeah, they're trying to get a little bit out of the cars as well. Just trying to help out.
That's just it. So it's
Yeah,
each piece extra. And then unfortunately, when you're talking, generally speaking, New World cigars, there's
right.
nothing extra. It's so in your face that that's all you're ever going to get. Um,
Some, yes, I agree with you to an
not
extent.
not not
And
100% of the time. Yeah,
right,
there are from
right.
time
But
to
about
time.
90% of the time, I would say you're 100% spot on. There's those 10% where you get, as Usman would say, comes close to a Cuban, not a Cuban, but comes close to a Cuban. Your Camachos that you smoke, they're not the typical New World. We talk about the CIO Brazilian Amazon. That's not the typical New World.
Yeah.
The Padron 1926 series, not the typical New World. And some of the Fuentes is not. But for the most part, you're right. I know that's why next week we'll do the Don Emmanuel, and we'll hopefully he'll be different.
So
That'll
I'm
be
going to
good.
say something mildly controversial again,
Oh,
mildly
this is
controversial, or it
exciting.
could
Go
be very
ahead.
controversial. No,
All
but
right.
in in a serious way.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that when it comes to like New World cigars that are getting, like when you say, well, this is almost Cuban, right?
Right, right, right.
Do you know what that is? That is basically in. Okay, I'll say this once again. I'm open to
Mhm.
criticism. I have no problem taking that criticism. I think what
Right.
they've done is they've artificially, through blending, just the way that
Mhm.
you can eat a hamburger, correct? You can
Right.
eat a hamburger, or
Yeah.
you can get these potato chips that are flavored like hamburgers,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
They're
right.
not quite there, but what they're
Yeah.
doing is they're trying to give you that hamburgery kind of flavor in a
Right,
potato
right.
chip, and
Yeah.
that's just artificial, sort of artificial ingredients. Now, I'm not saying these are artificial ingredients. I'm saying that just the blending. So, for
Hmm.
example, Davidoff owns its own, and this Roy Sommer was telling me this like months and months ago, because they own their own tobacco plantations, etc.,
Right.
etc. They can do a permutation of up to 3 million different blends.
Wow.
Okay, the 3 million different combinations, call it.
Right, right,
Okay,
right.
now in those 3 million combinations, you're going to find two or three combinations that kind of veer towards that Cuban kind of characteristic, without
Right.
being Cuban, without being actually Cuban, if you know what I mean. What you're doing
Yeah.
is you're kind of manipulating the senses to say, well, hang on, that I almost got that leatheriness that I get from a Galanes out of that,
Right,
that
right.
kind of thing. And that's what's happening, and that happens very rarely, I think. And I don't
So you don't
believe.
think the Cubans blend?
No, 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 no. Cubans blend, but I think there's intrinsically something in those tobacco, the Cuban seed,
Right,
and
but
not just the Cuban seed, the Cuban leaf that's
and
grown in
the
Cuban
soil. Right.
terroir. That
Right.
has a certain personality to it, right?
Yeah.
It has a
Right.
certain distinct personality to it, and it happens to be. I don't know if it's luck, if it's well, it's a combination of luck, it's a combination of agriculture, it's a combination of experience, combination.
Right.
There is a characteristic. I'm not faking this. There's enough people on this planet that smoke Cuban cigars
Right.
who, just like me, I mean, they may not have a social media forum to say it, but they think just like me. And in
Right.
lounges, they'll say, there's 90% of people maybe 95% of people who smoke Cubans would say, I don't want to smoke anything else. I just want to smoke
Right.
Cuban,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
It's because this product, it's like a Big Mac. There are some people obsessed with Big Mac. I was reading just yesterday, there's a guy who's had 38,000 Big Macs in his life. He has two Big Macs every single day without fail. He's been eating Big Macs like 35, 40 years, right?
That's crazy.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is some people are fixated on a specific profile, a flavor profile, a product
Right.
profile, and it won't change. This is, some people buy Mercedes Benz; they'll always buy Mercedes Benz throughout their life. Some
Right. Right.
people will. Some people will go from VW to BMW to, I don't know, to Saab. By the way, I'm sticking to European cars here, by the way,
I've
because
noticed that. God
American
forbid. Well,
cars.
there won't be any American cars because of the tariffs, so it doesn't really matter.
Well,
So you
forget the
can stick
tariffs
with
and
all
just
the cars you
shit
want. Yeah.
cars.
Well, no, wait. You know what? Who makes it? Here's who makes a good American product. Ford makes a good truck. Ford
Well,
makes a
from
good
from
truck.
whose standard? Whose standard? From your
No, no. I
standard?
had an expedition when I had a horse farm, and the thing never broke, and you could tear that puppy apart. So Ford, if you're looking for just a daily driver that you can beat the crap out of, a Ford Expedition, they make a good product. That's it. That's the only
The
guy I felt
the
I got on
the
American
the,
cars.
the cars I do like, the American cars,
Yeah.
or the US made car, are not the contemporary ones. These are ones from like maybe the
60s. I was gonna say
seventies.
you want those 60
Well,
Mustang, the
60s.
60
I'm beginning
Stingray.
to like, because what I like are these old, sweeping. I never used to like them, but
Yeah.
now I see the style dimension. It's not about the engineering; it's
Mm.
about the
Right.
style, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And as I was saying, I had tea yesterday with brown car guy, Mr. Shazad Sheikh,
Well, look at that.
and
We're gonna
and
have tea on Tuesday here on the air.
and so I said to him something. He goes,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I said, look, I'm not a petrol head. I'm not one of these people.
Right.
I'm not a petrol head. Yeah. When I talk about cars or cigars, I've realized more than anything else, I'm a nostalgia seeker. I'm a
There you go.
seeker of nostalgia. Okay. It's not about the car. It's not about the cigars. It's not about the clothes in themselves. It's about
Right.
what they represent to me. A certain
Old,
place in
old world,
time.
old school. Right.
And it's like you and I were discussing. For the benefit of the audience, I briefly gave you a call. Was it yesterday evening? And I was asking
Yep.
you advice on yeah,
A
sort of
cigar.
70s noir movies. No, it was 70s noir
Oh, okay.
movies.
Yeah.
I watched this stuff. I indulge in this stuff. If anyone wants to know my character, I am kind of a lost in time person. I'm sure, Stephen, you are as well.
Yeah.
We are looking for the things that don't exist anymore.
Right.
In contemporary form, they kind of, they're not at, we're kind of like, we're becoming, with age we become more and more obsolete to current world. But the benefit we have is the experience and connections and attachments and likings of things that are old world.
Yeah.
So this is a very old world product. That's why even when you say new world cigars, even the word
Yeah.
new for me is slightly allergic. Fuck new, yeah. I'm sticking to
I call
old.
them non-Cubans then.
Well, there you go. That's why, yeah.
Oh, excuse us. Well, you puff away. So, but yeah, so you did call me about a movie, and I said that you should watch the movie called The Super Cops about David Greenberg and Robert Hance, which were two police officers in the late '60s, early '70s that literally cleaned up New York City. And I knew David Greenberg, so very, very interesting movie.
Oh, you
Um,
knew. All right.
I
Okay.
know David Greenberg. Yes, I haven't seen him in years, but David and I know him very well. So yeah, so I know one of the actual, and actually David and his partner are actually in the movie. There's a scene where the two actors throw these two detectives over a desk, and that's the actual Greenberg and Hance in the movie. So, and I read the book when I was a kid, and I bumped into David probably in the early '90s, and we
Not
became mates.
1990s.
19,
1990s.
1990s, yeah. In the 90s, I met him. There you go. So we talked about that. I was like, wow, that's really cool. So it was very cool to know him and meet him. And I think I don't know if he's still alive, but if he is, he had a whole bunch of bagel shops in Tampa, Florida. So if
When you
he's
say
still living
bagels, you
in
mean
Tampa,
bagel shop.
bagels, yeah, bagels, because like, I'm Jewish, let me have a bagel.
What
So
is
if
the
David,
fish that you put in bagels?
you
Come on.
put either Nova or Lox.
What is the fish? That pink colored fish? Because what
It's,
you say will define exactly what you are. What's the pink colored fish that goes in a bagel with
I
cream
just
cheese?
said, it's either Nova or Lox.
There you go. You said lox or lux. It's actually smoked salmon.
It's the same thing. We call it, no, we're Jewish. We call it Nova or Lox. We know it's smoked
Well,
salmon. We're not
I live in
stupid.
London. There's no end of your Jewish
There's no
community here
Jews.
in North
There's no
London,
Jews there in
and
London. What do
they
you?
don't call it locks. I've got one of the best bagel shops. You come in, you'll be blown
I
away.
know.
You said this is
Where?
better than
Okay.
New
What do
York.
you smoke salmon? You're going to put smoked salmon on my bagel? Do you have an everything
Now, now,
bagel
now,
toasted with
are you
cream
the type
cheese?
of person that has smoked salmon with cream cheese or without cream
Oh
cheese?
no, I have a little smear of cream cheese.
A schmear. I
A
think
smear of
I
cream
think you're
cheese.
right. I think overloading with cream cheese doesn't work for me.
No, no,
It's got to
no.
be
A smear.
just
Yeah, just enough. You got to have the smear.
but oh, you've got me on food now. Oof.
I know, right? The schmear is a beauty. There's a place that we used to go to in New York, and they did the perfect schmear. And then you would tell them how much lox, Nova, smoked salmon you want. And then they would put a little lettuce on there for you, a tomato and an onion, and toast it. It was an everything bagel. It was a beauty. Oh,
I'm gonna say something to you.
yeah,
I don't like. I mean, I love smoked salmon bagels. I love
yeah,
them. Yeah.
yeah,
But more than a freshly made one, what I
yeah, yeah.
like is one that's
Hmm.
been made, wrapped in cellophane, and has been standing for a little while, because then the kind of flavors begin to
Oh, the juice is
absorb,
just
and the
absorbing
bagel
the
gets a little
bagel.
bit softer.
Yep,
You know
yep,
what I mean? It
yeah.
just softens up a little bit. Oh,
I
love
don't,
smoked salmon
I
bagels.
don't, I just eat it. In fact, the last time, I guess it was in Dubai, we found a place that did it, and we were just like, we're just giving me the smoked salmon. Just like, keep giving me that. I don't care about the bagel. So, oh, ladies and gentlemen, I have to say this. This is a very exciting moment for you fans that have been waiting for
For me,
30 days.
for
We are
me.
proud to announce or, or And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, off of his
Here
30-day
I am.
hiatus. There you are there. Off of
I'm
his
here.
30-day
Here I am.
hiatus, Mr. Usman is returning. And he has an excuse, I'm sure, why he's on time and not late. And there you go, ladies. There he is.
Fucking
Hello,
Hey,
hell.
Fidel Castro.
hello.
He looks like Fidel Castro today, everybody. Okay, let's get a close up of Fidel. All he needs is a hat. So there you go. So Usman's here. Congratulations for making it to your show. Yep, and now he's gone. And there you go. That was a great show. Thanks for
That's called premium content. You only get to see it for like 10 seconds. That's premium content. That's the tease
That was
for
the
next
teaser.
time.
That was the tease. You
That
can
was the
see
tease.
Usman next week. Love it. I'm sure he got a phone call from his wife. Anyway, the schmear, the bagel. Oh, it's a beauty. There he's back now. Oh, you got the hat. He's got the Fidel Castro hat. Now,
Ah!
there you
Oh
go.
my
Yeah.
God, commando mode. He's going to take
Oh
over the
my
show. There
God.
we
There we
go.
go. Very nice.
Che Abid.
You're
Che
never
Hello.
going
Abid.
to get into the United States now.
Hello,
Anyway,
boys.
how's it going, big guy? How you been?
All good, all good. You tell, how's everyone?
Very good. So the
Much
reason
better now
just
that you're back.
oh my God, thank God. And I can't smoke today because we're having horizontal rain. So I'm
Oh,
unfortunately can't. But I was going to smoke, just so you know, and for the fans that
mhm,
are joining late, a Don Emmanuel. It's a Dominican cigar, and he's out of
okay.
Miami. He was nice enough to send me several of them to test. So I'm going to smoke a few Robustos next week, put them on Instagram, and then next Saturday, I will actually do a cigar review of the Churchill that he sent live on the air.
Nice.
So
I
we'll see
want
how that
Usman
goes.
to tell me straight away what the Vitola is
Yep.
because I forgot
Let's
what the
go.
Vitola is.
I can't see what the hell you're smoking.
Oh.
I can only see a dismantled wrapper on it.
There's just dismantled there.
Yeah, I can't see. It looks like a punch, and it's a punch Swiss edition, right?
Yes. This one is from
Okay.
Urs. I can't remember the
Oh,
name of the Vitola. What is the Vitola?
I have not had it, so I would not remember it off my heart.
Did he show you his 1972 Romeo and Juliet that he smoked the other day?
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah, he
Oh,
called me. He called me because should I smoke it or not? I'm like, no, wait for the show. And what did he do? He smoked it right
Smoked
after
it.
we hung up.
Me, I don't hang about. I just smoke.
Yeah, he
yeah.
doesn't
So
have any
what?
willpower.
Yeah.
So, well, Usman, we've been on the air, just so you know, live for the last 4 hours. And now that you've joined, I'm sorry, now that
I
you've
I
joined
was
us,
I was on time. Five
and
o'clock for
you were
me.
on time. Unfortunately or fortunately, RZA couldn't wait. He was so excited that you were
I
here.
just
We
want to
had to
light
start
up.
the show early. He just wanted to light up. So we started the show early. So we're here. So what do you want to talk about? Are you going to do Habano's history? Now we have those intros we've played for 30 days.
Mhm.
And now you look like Fidel Castro, apparently. So, where do you want to
Right.
begin, my friend?
So I think the first thing, or for this time, what we'll do is we'll do a quick roundup of the festival because I
Sure.
started with reaching to the festival and then the Ramadan
Yeah.
happened. So we'll
Right.
we'll do
Sure.
a completion of the festival for now, and I've
Okay.
sent a couple of pictures to be uploaded
Yeah,
when.
those aren't going to happen because you know what?
Okay.
We looked at here's why we looked at the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And we said this before you joined, of course. The fact that you were like a little 14-year-old girl and you couldn't wait 30 days to open your little purse and take out all the gifts live for the fans. No fan wants to see a picture of like, oh, look at the pretty box of cigars. No, they wanted to
Mm-hmm.
see you do it live and enjoy it with you. And you've disappointed them. And so, they don't like you now. But anyway,
I get it.
if you can tell us about the Havana Festival, because that'll
Yes.
be good.
Right. Okay. So, as well, if somebody recalls, I reached to Havana after like 55, 56 hours of transit flights and all of that. And then I would say it was from landing till the time I took off. Those 7 days do not feel like 7 days when it comes to the kind of activities and the fun and the memories I made. But if I talk about the time I spent there, I feel it was just less than a day because it
Mhm.
went past so quickly that I wasn't able to really reflect back even for one day or the other day. So I must say, before I begin anything about that, anyone and everyone should experience the Habanos festival at least once in their lifetime, and do it sooner than later, because it's something which if you're a real cigar smoker and if you're into cigars and the cigar lifestyle, this is the memory you really want to have in your mental notes, number one. And number two, the statement that cigars taste better in Havana or Cuba, I think I am a complete believer of this statement now,
Wow.
because
Okay.
that entire environment, that entire culture, the air in there, the whole weather, it's just like a big humidor and a culture where the morning doesn't happen without a cigar, and you do not go to bed without having a cigar, kind of a thing.
Wait, can I ask you
So
a question? Did it help that
yes.
you look like Fidel Castro? Did they bow to you more? Did they like, oh, Fidel's alive again? Did his brother meet with you? How'd that work?
No, 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 no. This I brought just for the show and for today. I
Okay.
got this as a souvenir from there, so that's the thing. But yes, of course, I'm sure they were happy that there was someone who had come from far land where people do not go from, and he was there for a few days and kind of
Right.
represented his own country, and enjoyed the fun of it. So, so day one. So for the ones who don't know the composition of the festival, it's a 5 days of festival, which includes a lot of activities from plantations to factory visits to a lot of seminars and sessions about cigars and the cigar culture and the new releases and the press conferences, to three big evenings of new launches or
Mhm.
celebration of some sort of a specific brand. This year, the chosen brands were Romeo and Julieta because it was completing 150 years, A.H. Upman, which was completing 180 years, and Behike, Cohiba's premium line Linea Behike, which was completing its 15 years of existence. So the first day is on the Monday, when the festival starts with the inauguration of the Habanos World Challenge, where a team composing of two people from different countries who are the winners in their own country come and compete for a global award, which is more to do about knowing what cigars you're smoking, the cigars vitola, the entire brand history, the pairings that you do with it, and overall cigar culture. And it's a presentation of its own kind. So the Monday was the preliminary session of the Habanos World Challenge in the morning, where they decide and have a few teams that are competing, moving on to the second stage and then the final stage later on during the week. So attended the first day and attended the Habanos World Challenge, looking at the teams. There were a few teams which I was very much rooting for. A team from Kuwait, which was a team of very close friends who were there. Then a team from Curacao was there, a team from Greece was there, a team from Canada was there, if I'm not wrong, and there were a few other teams who were participating. Good teams. Everyone was very much knowledgeable when I say, and so they do have tests and exams during that. They do have blind tastings that happen, where they have to identify the cigar, the profile of it, and then tell what brand it is, and then talk about the brand and all that stuff. Then they have to pair up a cigar or with the kind of drinks and beverages and foods and all of that. So that was the day one in the morning. And on Monday evening was the, or as they call it, the welcome night, which was dedicated to the brand Romeo and Julieta, which was completing its 150 years of existence. When we went to the event, it was, we were given a bag of goodies, which included Romeo and Julieta Churchill, the standard Churchill to smoke, and a new release which is called as Romeo and Julieta Amantes, which is a new cigar that has been released to commemorate the 150 years of existence of Romeo and Julieta. And we were given that. It was a night where everyone was dressed in the theme of white for men and maroon or red for women, which was the kind of suggested dressing. Obviously, there are some who dress slightly differently, but yes, this was what it was. And so I was also the same. So we attended that. It was good music, and primarily the first night is more of a networking night. Unfortunately, because of excessive and massive rain in Havana, the event was moved from outdoors to indoors, which was which brought a slight compromise to what I've heard, because in the past, since their venue is very open and you're very free, so you can enjoy it. But because of getting into an indoor thing and a last minute kind of a thing, it got a little claustrophobic slash a bit smoky in the first half hour, 45 minutes or so, till the time the buffet outdoors and the verandas were not opened. So once that was done, it was pretty okay and reasonable. So I had good fun there.
Okay.
That ended the first day, and then moving on to the second day, which was the plantations day. Again, an extremely memorable day, which starts very early in the morning. So you have to leave from Havana around 6:30 in the morning, and the buses dedicated. So we went to Pinar del Rio, which is the plantations capital for Cuba, and in that we went to the Saint Louis region,
Mhm.
and we went to see how the crop is being put in, the fermentation, how it happens, the deveining of the leaves, and hence how the whole thing is being done, followed by a lunch in one of the places at one of the big farmers and all that stuff, which is again a very interesting and very fun thing, because they've arranged a lot of music and cultural integration to the whole thing. There we were given two cigars, which was a Cirilli Rio Seco and Partagas E2 to smoke, and the lunch and all that stuff. That is a full day of exercise, because you leave at 6:37 in the morning. By the time you're back, it is around 6:37. So came back to Havana and then wanted to give it a more of a relaxed evening. So went to the Hotel Nacional, which is the iconic
Sure.
hotel, and went and sat down with a few friends from Dubai and Qatar and Kuwait, and we had some fantastic cigars and enjoyed the weather and music and all of that. Wednesday morning, the international seminars start, which means there are a lot of seminars and a lot of activities during the day. At the Hotel Palco, went there and attended one of the two sessions. One session was on the pairing of Macallan 25 and the Rio Seco. Of course, Macallan went to the gentleman sitting next to me, while Rio Seco is what I smoked.
Right.
And then after that session, there was a lunch break, followed by a session on the pairing of Behike 54 with Dalmor 15. So
That
the
more.
CEO, yeah, and the CEO of Dalmor from Scotland was there, and they showed and talked about the pairings and all that stuff. So attended
Right.
that. That evening was the evening where they had the H. Upman brand celebrating the 180th anniversary. The evening was in Capitolio building, but because of it
Mhm.
being the Capitolio building and the fact that the tickets for that was kind of reduced to only 400 or 500 people, so unfortunately
Mhm.
many of us were not able to attend that evening, but they
You weren't
launched the
special. We were not special enough. Is that what you're trying to say? You didn't have a little
two.
star and stuff.
Yeah. By that time, I didn't have that
No,
star.
no, no, no.
So
That
Okay.
yes,
evening was for the riffraff. The special people were like Usman. They had their private events.
Oh,
well,
excuse
yeah.
me. I didn't
So
realize
thank you
this.
very much. Thank you very much, Raza, for
The
putting it.
Castro
So
lookalike show. That's what he
yeah.
had. Yeah.
So
If
out
we're
of the
not
1400,
invited, if we're not invited to the party, we
Then
don't
it's
want
not
to go.
special.
We
That's
don't want
true.
to
yeah.
go.
Yeah. We don't go to parties we're
out
not
of out,
invited to.
so out of the 1400, 1500 people,
Yeah.
around 400, 450 were there, and 1,000 people were out. So there was a bigger party out.
Okay.
So attended. So went
औकात पे आ
to.
गए.
Yeah. So went to a couple of interesting restaurants, and went to Blacko, where EGM is also being sold, so enjoyed that
Sure.
evening there.
Excuse
Uh,
us, name dropper.
yeah. So and Thursday morning is a morning where you go and attend or go for a factory visit, and there's a rolling masterclass. So
So
I was
can I ask you this
assigned to
question? During this 1,500 of you, do all 1,500 of you go to this factory together, or
no,
do they break it
so
up in
no, no. So
groups?
so they allocate factories based on the
Okay.
number of tickets, and generally people who have been to Havana Festival for many a times,
Yeah.
many of them don't go to the plantations or factory every time. So which
Gotcha.
is why it is a piecemeal kind of a ticketed. So the ones who all have gotten the factory tickets, then they are being divided into different factories. So I was able to
Gotcha.
go to the La Corona factory, which is
Okay.
by their definition the biggest factory, making almost 16, 17 brands, including Romeo Julieta, Hoyo de Monterrey,
All right.
Punch, San Cristobal Havana, Diplomaticos, Sancho Panza, Rafael Gonzalez, and many other brands that they make. Polana Niaga. So they were all being made there. What we do is we went to the factory. We were given a short Churchill to start and smoke, and then we went to the rolling master class where a master roller sits and every one of us sits together and roll our own cigar. So I rolled a cigar, which was a weird looking cigar, but yes, I did roll this cigar, and you can smoke it if you want, or you will bring it with you.
What'd
So
you
I
do with
smoked that.
yours? You
Yeah,
smoked
one
your rolled cigar?
I smoked mine.
And how was it? How
And
would you rate your smoking of your own cigar? Where would you put that? Would it be like a New World cigar, or would it be like a Cuban cigar? I mean, when you
well, these
rolled
were
it, was
these
it
were
tight?
well these are all Cuban cigars because it's Cuban leaf.
I'm just being
And
smart. I could, how was
yes,
the roll? Was
Even,
it tight?
even, even if
Yeah.
Usman rolled a
Yeah.
terrible cigar,
Oh
it's
my
still
God.
better than the
New
best New
World.
World cigar
There we go. I
anywhere in
knew
the
this was
world.
coming.
oh my
Okay.
God. Okay, we're going there. Fine, got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You listen. You've been gone for a month. I've had to listen to this every week probably.
I
It's
know, I
like,
know.
yeah. That's why I feel. I'm Don Emmanuel is the cigar we're going to review next week. The non-Cuban. I'm hoping
Uh-huh.
it's good because if I say anything bad about it, Riz is going to be all over it. So I'm assuming it's going to be a great smoke. I have a positive feeling about it. Anyway, so. All right, so
So
you got to roll a cigar, you got to do this is very fascinating. And
yeah,
so
it is.
let me
It
ask
is.
you
So that,
this.
yeah,
If I want to go, right, and
yeah,
because we all get invited and some go, some don't. So I
yeah.
buy a ticket. Do I buy a ticket that gets me into everything, or do I buy a piecemeal ticket that gets me into the main event and does this? And
If
how do you like?
somebody
How's the ticket?
if somebody has not attended the festival before, I would always say, and I would after this recommend that you go and attend the entire thing, buy the entire ticket, which is somewhere around $3,500 or
Okay,
€3,500.
okay,
Because once for the first time, the whole experience is important. So you go to the plantation because
all right,
then everything is structured for you. You can do all of this at your own as well,
yeah, yeah,
but there will the experience and the knowledge sharing part and all of that will not be there, and you not have that bigger crowd, and the environment and that
all
feel would
right,
not be there. So better to do it at least once. And especially the master rolling class does not happen if you go to a factory. You can go and visit a factory, you can book a tour with the factory, you can go and
all
visit the
right,
factory, but that does not include the master rolling class. Similarly, if you go to the plantations, you will see the plantations, but yes, you will not be able to see where the fermentation happens because it's a different place. You will
all
not be
right.
able to see the deveining factories because that's at a different place. So again,
Gotcha.
this way you get the whole package of it.
You get the whole experience, and then do they?
Yes.
When about the hotel? Did you have to do that on your own, or is that part of your package?
No, 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 no. So everything else is at your own. So your air ticket, your visas, your hotel, your accommodation, your transportation, everything is at your own. This
Right. We
is
heard
just
about
the
your visa.
festival cost.
We heard your visa story, how they whipped you up for
Yes,
$50. So
yes,
yeah, so basically the visa, you just
yeah.
pay the custom guy $50, he lets you in the country. So now
That's
you
that
have
doesn't
array
work
of
like that. But okay, fine.
okay, do you have
In my
array of
case,
hotels
in
in your
what? Pardon?
no, in your case, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So in my case, it was a proper paper visa, which I had to go to get into the embassy and all that
Right.
stuff, which I shared last time. So that's the thing, and so after the factory visit, we were free by like midday.
Okay.
So the La Casa del Habano in Zug, Switzerland, had arranged their first anniversary party outside of Havana in a place called Hacienda El Patron, which is owned by the grandson of Fidel Castro. So we all went there to attend their first anniversary. It was again a very, very interesting private event, which was invite only. I went to that. They opened a few boxes of Hoy de Monterrey double Coronas and the Trinidad Cabildos, which was a year
Right.
2024's limited edition. Really, really thoroughly enjoyed that evening. From there, came back to attend and so I missed one session of the seminars. Came back to attend the second session, which was on the Linea Bihique in the Hotel Palco, introducing the history of Bihique and how the whole brand was created and the whole thing. Attended that, and after that, attended the trade fair where all these different companies and exhibitors come and put in what they have in terms of what they bring as their product and all that stuff. Was able to buy some Cuban coffee from there as well,
Oh, of course.
Cubita and all that stuff. So
So is
that's
it,
it. And
wait, one more question. Is this stuff in
yeah.
English or is it in Spanish, or do they have a translation headset that you wear? When, like, if I go
So so
to,
they, so they,
uh,
so they have it's like you're sitting in the United Nations of Cuba.
okay,
So you're
cigars.
sitting in a proper seminar house. So you have a translation set in front of you. So you put on the headphone. If you understand
Okay.
Spanish, you don't need it. If you don't understand the English translation happening, but there are some presenters who are presenting in English and you don't understand English,
Right.
you move to the Spanish channel. So that's how it works.
Gotcha.
So that was there, and then in the evening I went to so on that evening. Then there was, because it was the 35th anniversary of the La Casa del Habano franchise at Habano. So in different six La Casa del Habanos within Havana, they had done different events, and there were certain allocations. So I was allocated to the La Casa del Habano Partagas, which was primarily done for most of the GCC and this region, which is primarily a non-alcohol consuming region per se, and more of so there was a tea sommelier who was there sharing the pairings of different kinds of teas with cigars.
Okay.
So it was mostly people from Kuwait, from UAE, from Pakistan, from all these Muslim countries and
Can I
Islamic
ask a
countries
question?
over
Can I
there.
ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Yes,
At the
yes.
tea
Down the hall to the
pairings,
left.
at the tea pairings, were they pouring when you got the tea in the cup? Did you pour it into the saucer and then
Oh my
like we
God.
do in Pakistan?
Yeah, that's done in Pakistan or India or these countries only because we have mixed tea. We are talking about general teas without milk and pairing teas in the form of those very small short espresso cups.
Yep.
So that it was done more of a pairing kind of thing, and the tea was brewed there. So
How was it? How was it? How was the
Was
tea?
really
it?
good,
Yeah.
really good. It was a different experience. So tea, chocolate, and different kinds
Mm.
of chocolates and
And
cigar
this was
pairings.
at La Casa del Habanos Partagas.
Yes, that was at the Casa de Habano Partagas,
Right.
run and
Partagas does
managed
it
by
right.
the famous Rene. So Rene was there because it was a big group. The co-president of Habanos, as well as the CEO and chairman of Phoenicia, were also there, attending the event along with my dear brother and Hombre Habano, Jasim Ahmad, and a lot of other friends from Kuwait and UAE and all those places. So that was there, and that evening again was a private event hosted by the Casa del Habano UAE, by Bakir Mohibi Enterprises. So Mr. Mohammed Mohibi, who is again a Hombre Habano in the business category for last year, was there along with the president and chairman of Phoenicia, a lot of friends from UAE, a lot of private friends from other places. Even our dear friend Ruben from US joined there as well.
Well, we
It
sure we
was at
talked
the
about Ruben.
Pardon?
We talked about Ruben. He flew over just to
Yes.
spend the day with you.
Ruben
Yeah.
has a sandwich
So
named after him.
He does.
yeah.
It's a nice sandwich. You get it at a Jewish deli. You have a Reuben. So he's a very lucky man.
Right.
So
So that happened, and so it was a very interesting night, very very memorable night. Almar Cigar Club
right.
rooftop of like eighth ninth floor, where you can see the entire skyline of Havana. Beautiful evening, very nice weather.
How would you know?
AJ,
I watched your pictures on Instagram, and you guys are on
Mhm.
the eighth floor outside smoking cigars, and not one of you is looking up. What you guys are all doing, your face is in your phone, so you can do your Instagram or your TikTok texting. This is literally, I'm like, wow, that's a really nice picture. And what's Usman doing? Along with everybody, whoever took the picture, this is what they're all doing. How did you see anything? You guys had your face in the phone. You weren't even enjoying the moment. That's
I
crazy.
think I
See, we
think
were
Usman in a week must have had a sensory overload. There's so many bloody things to see, so many things to photograph, so many things to video, so many people to
agreed,
meet, so many cigars to
which
smoke,
is
so many,
exactly why
it's
I
like
wasn't,
And that's just the hotel room.
which is exactly why I wasn't able to even upload or so far share a lot of stuff because there's so much to do and it's taking me time and Ramadan kind of slowed me down as well. So
I
I
think
with
you did
that
the
agree,
right
said,
slowed
thing.
you down.
Instead of social media,
There we go.
focus on that moment because the social media you can do the next trip or so.
Right,
exactly.
But
So
right.
that's why you would not see a lot on my social media during those days, except for
mm,
maybe a few story reposts during the day. And yes, that picture was probably caught at that one moment when it was happening like this kind of stuff. So it was the Cohiba Esplendidos night by the UAE Casa, and we were at the March Cigar Club. We attended that,
Right.
and the night kind of ended somewhere around 12:31. Friday morning, I had arranged a private kind of thing because I wanted to go to their Legito factory, which is the mother factory for Cohiba. And I was like, if I'm here, I don't know if I'm going to come back again, not
Right.
whatever. I want to go and attend that festival again, and I want to have that picture, the legendary, memorable picture on the stairs where it says Cohiba in the Legito
Yep.
factory. So I went there at 9 o'clock in the morning. Again, did my private tour of the factory, saw all those cohibas being rolled and made, as well as saw the third fermentation, which happens in the barrels in Legito factory, which is given special treatment for cohiba since it was a Behike festival, so Behikes were being rolled, Behike 54s were being rolled and boxed at that time when I went. So I was able to get a couple of sticks gifted of the Cohiba Behikes, obviously without the bands, because
Hmm.
whenever they gift anything during the factory tour, it is primarily without the brands. So got that. After that, I went to a very interesting place in Havana called San Jose, which is more of a warehouse terminal by the creek, but it has been transformed into a very local market for souvenirs and a lot of local shopping. So I went to there to experience the whole
Hmm.
thing.
Right.
Really loved that. This cap actually I bought from there as well.
That's what I figured.
So bought a few memorabilia from there and all that. That was a good fun afternoon. And then for lunch
oh,
we went
just
to
by the way,
one.
just on that side note, on the hats, what I enjoyed, and I enjoy this about Usman generally, he takes the very traditional Pakistani Pashtun
I saw that.
hat for his new like when he meets
Yeah.
the new cigar people, and they very nicely in a very sporting way, they always, I saw AJ wearing it, I saw
Yep.
Ali wearing it from Kuwait. That's a
Yeah.
very that's there's the love there. I love that. I really
Mhm.
like that even more than the beret that Usman is wearing. I enjoyed
Yeah.
that in
Yeah.
Cuba more than
Yeah.
anything else.
Thank you.
Well, now he just
So
looks like Castro, so that's why his grandson invited him to the party. I mean, come on. He bought the cap. His grandson's like, "Oh, granddad's alive. Let's bring him to the party."
No, he
There you
doesn't look
yeah.
go.
like Castro. He looks like Che because Castro wore a dark blue beret most of the time, and
Mhm.
Usman is wearing the
Green
standard camo green with the red
So yeah.
the red
With the Mao
star.
star.
Yeah.
Well,
So
he doesn't look
so
like
so
Mao,
which
just so you
which
know.
which now that Raza has said can easily be
Oh, it
removed.
inverts. Does it invert to the blue?
No, it can just be removed as I have removed, and you can sit without a cap enjoying the event as well. Because I thought it's enough that I've done it. But since Raza is a cool cat, he understood what I was gonna do.
There we
Ah,
go.
that's cool.
It
There
There
we
you
transforms
go.
into a
go.
blue with the
There
Che
we go.
Guevara on the whole thing. So it's a very interesting kind of thing.
Oh, but the
So
look
yeah,
suits you. It actually suits
yeah,
you with the
Yeah, it
beard. It
does.
actually works. I
Yeah.
think I personally, you should be sporting that more often. It works.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
That's a
think
So
so.
cool.
yeah,
That
so
is.
that's the thing.
So
So then, and
transformative.
why I did that is we went to La Gorida, which is again a Michelin star kind of restaurant, very much famous, and has a very historical importance of being a very memorable site for that place. Went there, had lunch. That was like the most peaceful lunch in this entire week that we had, because it was just a few friends from UAE and a friend from Arash, Three Amigos Cigar Club, and a friend Asair from the La Casa de Habano Bali, a few friends from Italy, Sarah and Nicola. So we were all there, enjoyed our meal, took it as a very relaxing, chilling evening, played the cigar game, and where we smoked some very fine cigars and all that stuff. Yes, the dice game, and then we head out to our places to get ready for the main or the finale of the festival on Friday, which is the gala dinner, which was celebrating the 15 years of Linea Behike of Cohiba. So went, dressed up, changed, and I wanted to dress national. So I wore, since it was a black tie event, so I wore a traditional sherwani in
National
national
dress,
dress,
which
national dress for
National dress.
Pakistan.
Yep.
Yes, sherwani and the Jinnah cap, named as the cap after the founder of Pakistan. So attended that. It was a fantastic evening where there are 10 humidors being auctioned for, and the money from that goes to the charity supporting the Cuban medical health system. There were the award ceremony for the Habanos World Challenge winning team from Curacao. There were the winners of the Hombre Habanos in this year. Hombre Habano for communication went to Alex Tipik from Serbia, or commonly known as Alex Cigar Dandy. The business category went to Alan from Mistral Havana, or the La Casa de Habano, Mendrisio or Lugano in Switzerland. So it was a very, very interesting evening, full of fun, full of memories.
that's a
Before
husband and
after
wife
that,
team. That's the husband and wife team, right?
yes, Sophia and Ellen.
And they're very good friends of Christian here in Tonto, remember?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So and then the starting cigar was a medio siglo that was given to us. But then when the night started, with the every course of meal changing, there would be coming a cigar. So the Cohiba BK 52 came in, BK 54 came in, BK 56 came in, and then the finale was the launch of and the dishing out of the Cohiba BK 58, which is now the latest addition to the Linea BK, which is 58 ringgits, but bigger than a 7 inches cigar. A massive cigar to smoke. Since it was the 15th anniversary of Linea BK, I decided to smoke something from that same Linea, which was actually 15 years old. So I pulled up a Behike 56 from the 2010, from the original release that I had from one of my boxes. And I smoked that. It was a pure beauty and joy to smoke that cigar after this much of age on it. It was like pure cream butter, but it remained and retained its strength the way it was supposed to be. So it was very, very interesting. There's a function called screenshot, and you could have taken it, but fine.
No, I did this for a different reason. I did
Oh
this for
my
a different
God.
reason.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted the ambiance, if you know what I mean. You
All
know,
right.
for a
Fair
Uh,
enough.
change.
Okay, okay. So
he'll
that's what
edit it. He'll
happened.
edit us out early later. He'll edit us
Yeah, yeah.
out later. So
So around 1 o'clock, the evening or the evening ended, and then they were like just the last people sitting, few of us just enjoying the after party. So it was a small gang of 8, 10 people, including Ajay and Rekha, who were there as well, Jasim and me and all of us. And then we left that place, the convention center, around 2 o'clock in the morning.
mhm.
And by the time I reached home, it was almost 3:30, and I had just 1.5 hour to pack and leave for the airport.
Oh
Oh
wow.
my
So
God! So you did
pack.
the gala night and flew out the next morning,
Well,
like in a straight line.
that same morning, practically yes. So I did
Did
that,
they
and
rip
then
you off at the airport leaving? Did they make you pay another $50 to leave?
no, thank God that was not the
No,
case.
$100.
No,
$100 bucks.
so going out was very easy and smooth.
Okay.
And so 5:30 in the morning, I reached the airport, and then the friends were from Kuwait and from Greece, and few others were flying out as well that same day. So we took off. The flight goes from there to the Simon Bolivar Airport in Cancun.
Hmm.
Went there. After 3 hours, they do the cleaning and refueling, and then from there went to Istanbul. Landed in Istanbul, was
Hang on,
knackered.
you went to Mexico first.
Yes, we went to Mexico first. Yes, and then
I'm
from
going
there
to
it
that
comes
way.
back.
Okay.
So that happened, and then from there flew into Istanbul. I wanted to go out, but again I was super tired. I was having cigars and I didn't want to risk it, so I took a hotel at the airport, stayed there for like few hours, then explored the airport once again because I had a 15 hours layover, and then from
Sure.
there I flew out, and I was in Lahore after 6 hours of travel. So this was
Very
my
nice.
7 days of absolute fun, memorable,
All
joyous
right. So here's a couple
Habanos festival.
questions. One, they don't take they can't use your Visa or American Express card there because you're not allowed like Americans. So you have to pay everything in cash, I'm assuming. And
Okay, the answer
two,
to that
how do you,
question is you should not feel bad that they do not take an American Express card or a Visa or something which is American based cards. Practically 90% of the cards don't work there. So
you have to pay
the
cash.
card, yeah. So the cards from UAE, Middle East, Pakistan, even none of them worked, despite the fact that we had all activated. The good thing was we were carrying cash.
Right.
Again, in the La Casas, they don't take cash, they have to have cards. So all the hotels sell this prepaid card that you load with the US dollars, and then you use that card
Oh,
at
so
all the
like
La
so to pay
Casas.
your hotel, so to pay your hotel bill, I would come with like 5,000 cash, preload my
No,
card.
hotel bill
And
is
pay.
fine. Hotel bill is fine. The hotel will take cash.
Okay.
That's fine. But for the La Casas, if you have to buy cigars, if you have to be out there, you have to
Yeah.
use that card. And for the
It's a good
local
scheme.
restaurants and all of that stuff, they use Cuban pesos, which is again the denominations and the money is too
Right.
much that every day we were counting like hundreds of thousands of notes
Right.
and paying that.
I
Yes,
have a
sir. It's down the
question.
hall and to the left.
I have a question.
Yes.
Do
Yes.
they do they accept crypto anywhere?
Nowhere, nothing.
No. No.
Remember, we were in the 1960s still.
Yeah. I was gonna say
No,
they haven't gotten rid of this.
no. This is true. This is true. But the world is a sophisticated place now,
Yeah, I
Not
know.
Cuba. Not Cuba.
so I think it's a reasonable question. It could be that
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
you
No.
so your cards don't work. I mean, what are you talking about, crypto? So there was
Yeah, I was
nothing
gonna
like
say
that.
if the credit cards don't work, Riz, I don't think crypto's gonna. They don't know what crypto
Yeah.
is. They take cash and they want
Yeah.
dollars so they can use the dollars when they have to
Yes.
actually do stuff. So they'd rather you go to
Yes.
the airport and buy a pesos. So when you book your hotel, though, when you
Yeah.
get there, you have to pay for it in. If your credit card really doesn't work at the hotel, you have to pay for it in cash.
Cash. Cash. Yes. So I paid cash.
No, no. So if I book a hotel, if I go next year, I book my hotel, and
Most of the
it's whatever.
hotels. Okay. So most of the hotels,
Yeah,
if you're booking any of the hotels which are not run by the government,
yeah.
like if you're booking Kempinski or if you're booking Abero Stars
All
or
right.
NH, which are the international chains, your payment happens through your card the way you do
anyway
it
before you even go.
Gotcha.
online.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's all sorted. But
Gotcha.
on the spot, wherever you are, you have to use the
Gotcha.
cash or the card, prepaid card available at the hotel desk, so you can buy it, load your card with cash with it, and you can use that.
So if I'm going to go buy cigars, I need to have a prepaid card, pretty much.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Or if you're buying cigars from the Hotel
Yeah.
Palco is where all the events and all the seminars happen. The La Casa there also is allowed to take cash, and there is a money shop, exchange shop right next to that, where
Of
they
course there
also
is.
sell that prepaid. Where they also sell that prepaid card in case you don't want to pay cash and want to get that card. So they've made it very convenient. It's yes, the first day it looks like a hassle, but after that it isn't.
Very cool. All right. Well, there you go, everybody. So next year, maybe the show will go there and we'll do interviews all week. We'll take RZA with
It
us.
is it is it is it is the Cohiba's 60th anniversary next year, so I'm
I don't
guessing
know if
it
they'll
would
let
be
us in.
great.
They may not let us in. I'm American, so they may not let us go. We'll have
Well,
to
there
see.
were a lot of Americans. Trust me, there were so many Americans that
Oh, I'm sure.
I was actually surprised to see many of them there. And amongst the notable figures, I was able to meet the gentleman from Half Wheel, which is the blog that do a lot of stuff on cigars, and especially Cuban cigars. I met
Right.
David Savona, who is now the editor for Cigar Aficionados, Cigar Aficionado, the magazine out of US. Curry was there. A lot of other US people were there. So it's all good. I don't think there's an issue.
Well, we weren't there, so
The issue is on your return when you bring those Cuban cigars with you or not, kind of thing.
no, you don't bring Cuban cigars back. You bring Mexican cigar back. So
I,
it's
I, I have a question about the gala. I have a question about the gala dinner.
Mhm.
I only saw. I mean, I didn't take a huge amount of interest at the time because I knew also that afterwards, you get through social media and through yourself, you're going to get to see all the photos. But what, to me, my eye, the most attractive humidor that I saw was the Hoyo humidor. It was absolute with that metal gate in front of it,
If you're asking me, out of those humidors,
which is the most
the
attractive one for you.
the most attractive one for sure was the Hoyo one,
Yeah,
done by Massimo at the D Arch.
that's right.
Yes, and that gate that he had done, it was inspired from the original Hoyo de Monterrey factory's gate outside. So it was just a
wow.
replica of that made.
That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. That's just a beautiful
Similarly,
story, and it's a
there
beautiful
was
execution, and it's just wonderful.
yeah, and then there was a very beautiful humidor also done by Massimo for Romeo and Julieta, which was a stunning red maroon kind of a thing. It is a beautiful humidor itself. That was also done by Massimo, was put right next to the Hoyo ones. The other humidor that I really liked and seeing there was if I'm not wrong, it was the Juan Lopez, which is a very
Hmm.
small Juan Lopez humidor sold for 220,000 euros, but really beautifully done, executed well, and small humidor. So these three humidors I really liked. Obviously, the Cohiba and Behike ones were very nice and fetched the most amount of money, but they were there, excuse me, from a perspective of collectors and all of that. So some real good show on that end. And I must say it's a memory one must have in their lifetime if they are into the cigar lifestyle and if cigars are the way of life and they enjoy it. So
We got
that
to go
was,
next year. That's all there is to
yeah,
it.
I must say, if life permits and if everything permits, next year we should all three plan to attend the Cohiba
We should go.
60th
And the nice thing
and the
is
festival.
Usman's been there, so
Yeah, now we
we
have
can just
context and you know the before, sorry to cut you,
yeah.
if you have a network, you enjoy the festival more because then you have the invites to all these private events and private parties, which actually make the entire experience the whole thing. So
Okay.
you're actually always running short on time because you have
Okay.
to go from one to the other and I have to give a shout out to my brother, my friend, my guide, Laurent Buse from Habano News once again, because he was the one who said it to me. Go to any and every invite that comes to you, even if you go for a small while, because it is always worth it. You build new connections, you make new connections, and it is an experience. And try to go to as many as you can. And I
All
must
right.
say, it was the best advice that I got.
Very good. Oh, I'm glad you had a good time. And now the real question is, the fans have been
Well, there was
asking.
no doubt that he had a good time. There was no
Yeah,
doubt in it.
because like we haven't seen him for like 2.5 months. Anyway, this Habano Saturday thing. Are you going to give a history today, or are you going to save
No,
that
no,
for
no,
next
no.
week, or what do you want to do here? And because we've been teasing the fans with the teasers now, so
Yes, you have.
Next week, we'll come up with
next week. Hold on. So next week we're going to. So that's next week. Then we're going to give the
yeah.
fans the teasers next week. Okay, so we've been teasing them now with these new noir things that REZA has made, and you haven't been here to do them. So just saying.
No,
So
no. From next week onwards, we will continue with the cigar histories
okay,
and Havana's histories. We've done a few brands, but we will do the brands that are still left. I think we've done just 3, 4 of them so far, and
There's
we
been
will
like
continue.
three. And this one brand that RZA really wants you to do, which is why he made this, you still haven't done. So this is why we've been playing the teaser. I know. What are you going to do? Ramadan got in the way of things. You
Yeah.
guys
I
would have to
think
go fast and
I'd like
everything.
to say something. I think
There we go.
Usman himself is turning into a brand.
Yes, he is a
We will
brand.
have to do
Astra.
a Habanos Usman brand.
An Usman brand. His own cigar. I like it. The Usman cigar.
One of the things I've been looking forward to for a long time is, and I think it might be
You rolled a cigar.
Usman's venture into the world of Cuba and in
Ooh,
Havana and Habanos. I want to see an exclusivo Pakistan cigar. I want to see a
nice.
regional edition.
That's right.
And
See, the first step is that now you see
that,
these
yeah,
footprints.
that's right. That's
I've
right. I've
gotten
seen
these
that. I've
foot.
seen that footer. That's Usman's footer.
Very
Yeah.
nice. Do you have your own brand?
No, it's just the logo of Cigar Guy PK that I've gotten some foot
Oh,
bands
okay.
made. One actually to save my cigars, but it's like a nice way of presenting and gifting it to someone as well. So why
Very
not?
nice. All right. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, soon we'll have an Usman brand of cigars exclusively sold here and Habano Saturday. You can only buy them in
Not
Cuba.
sold, not
So,
sold. Distributed, distributed.
distributed. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm vulgar of
Gift,
me to say sold.
gifted, presented,
Distributed. Presented.
gifted,
Yes, presented
presented.
here for you.
Yes.
Habano Saturday. So, well, that
Usman,
was
that
really
look,
cool.
by the way, that look really suits you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You look
Yeah.
sort of
A
across,
communist look.
sort of a
Yeah.
cross
A
between
communist look.
sort of a Pakistani military police officer or ranger and a Cuban rebel.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. He'll never be able to come to the United States now. Keep talking. So he'll be on the list.
Well, well,
So
well. In your case, you're not letting anyone in these days, so it's fine.
let me tell you, with what's going on, and the market just lost $5 trillion, and with all the tariffs and all this and all that, it's just like, are you kidding?
The billionaires couldn't give two hoots if the market loses $1 trillion because they're billionaires.
Well, actually, no, they do because their net worth goes down because a lot of what they have is in stock.
Yeah, and 2 minutes later it goes up
Well, no,
three
it hasn't
trillion.
gone up. No,
3 trillion. I will. It's all.
it
This is
will.
just.
It's all
They're just
smoke and
numbers.
mirrors.
They're figures. They're
Yeah,
inconsequential to people
yeah.
who live a great lifestyle, right?
Right. My
Uh,
point though is that the numbers are going down. We had a guy on, like I said, Lost Dollar Business Club, which just aired before this. That is a cybersecurity defense writer, and we were
Okay.
going through that, the numbers, the Signal incident, what the people quietly think of Trump within the Beltway. So it was very interesting show. So if anybody's interested in that, you can watch Lost Dollar Business Club. And that was very interesting. So yeah, so there's a lot of concern of what's going on, tariffs, the way they're handling things. Even the Republicans are quietly getting concerned now. So yeah, so it's going to be, I think, interesting over the next, say, 3 to 6 months.
Uh-huh.
See
Uh-huh.
what happens.
So yeah.
So, travel is going to be interesting, in and out
Yeah.
for Americans as well as everybody. Now we'll go to London. I used to go to London and show them my passport. They don't care. I go to London now. I have to fill out a form.
Oh.
I
Okay.
have to fill out a form now where
because London is
countryside.
a special place.
Oh, it's special. Okay. But no, I mean, the UK and all these other places you used to, as an American, you would just go. You didn't have to do anything. Now, because of Trump, they're literally saying, okay, you have to, you have visa. You have to fill out a visa form. You do it online, you pay your £20 and you're done. But before, you never had to do that. So now
Uh-huh.
when we travel, we're traveling like everybody else. We have to fill out forms. We have to do this. We have to do that. I'm like, this is crazy. It's like, enough's enough.
It's like COVID
Like,
again.
yeah, worse than COVID. COVID, at least it was okay. Now it's just like ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see what happens. It could be fun. But I'm glad you had a good time in Cuba. And I
Absolutely.
mean this with all respect to all our Muslim viewers. I'm glad Ramadan is over. So now we can
Yes.
get back to the next 11 months of a cigar show. And then next
Yeah.
year, when Ramadan comes, we'll go through the Usman won't be here because he has to eat food. That's crazy.
Well,
So
it purely depends. Well, it purely depends by that time. What time do we have our show, and what time is the breaking of the fast? Because every year it goes 10 days in advance, and
right.
and
You'll be
winters
right slap bang in the middle of Ramadan.
and winters is
Yeah.
because of winters the breaking of the fast happens a little early. So it
Hey,
depends.
Usman,
Ah,
Usman, I'm right. Next year, the Habanos
yeah,
Festival, if it happens at the same, obviously happens like a few days backwards and forwards, yeah? It'll be right
it's going
bang
to
in
be
the middle
doing
of
the thing.
Ramadan.
It will be in the middle of Ramadan, yes.
I'm going to miss you
That
guys when I'm there.
is that is going to be
No
foretelling.
problem.
That's
Stephen, it purely depends on by the next year where we are and what the situation is. Because Ramadan has never stopped us from doing things that we want to do.
No, but
Uh,
you're not.
no,
You
but the
can't
cigar
eat
smoking, the
nothing.
cigar smoking in
The
the
lips.
daytime,
You
and
can't do anything during
I
the
never
day.
stopped smoking. I never stopped smoking cigars. I actually smoke more cigars in Ramadan because after breaking of the fast till the morning, I generally don't sleep. And when
no,
I
no, no,
don't
no. What I
Okay.
sleep,
meant, what I meant, what I meant is,
During the day, you can't
and
smoke
not
a
just,
cigar.
yeah,
and not
that's
just
okay.
the.
That's
Okay.
okay. I can live with that. Especially that now I've done the festival. I'm
Right.
not sure whether I would like to do the seminars or the factory or the plantations anymore. So I would be more
Right.
interested in all these after parties or the evening
Right.
functions. By that
Right.
time,
Right.
I'm already done. So it's all good.
Yeah. See, I'm okay. I want the evening functions. I've already done a tour of a factory, so I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't care. And seminars, I've done the cigar aficionado thing in
yeah,
Vegas
yeah,
once, and I'm like, those are boring. I mean, it's very nice,
yeah,
but I have you, so I could care
yeah,
less.
yeah,
So
yeah.
to me,
Absolutely.
it'd be like I'd rather just go to the party. Let's like just go to the parties at night, and then like
Yeah,
stay out till 5 in the morning, and then sleep, and
yeah,
then go out again. And that to me would be more fun than hanging out with people who
absolutely.
go, look at them roll a cigar. Yeah, I've seen it, done it, been there. Don't care.
Exactly.
So
True, true,
and
true.
then buy my
Absolutely.
Mexican cigars and bring them home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
fly to Cancun
that's
for a
how it
couple
is.
days. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, like I said,
that's how it is.
Southwest Airlines and American Airlines out of Miami and Fort Lauderdale fly directly to Cuba and back.
Yes.
I don't know if they're going to continue that with Trump, but I know that's what they do. I know before that, I would have friends that would either fly into Panama or Mexico or Canada and then fly
Yeah,
into Cuba, fly back, and whatever. But
yeah.
apparently now, since everybody's our enemy, I have no idea where you fly in or out of or
I'd
whatever.
like to attend the Habanos Festival with you two splendid fellows. I'd also
Of
like
course,
to attend with Donald Trump as well. That might be fun.
call Donnie. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Stephen,
Yeah.
it's time when Raza's screws have loosened again. Can you please tighten them up?
Can we tighten after the show? We'll tighten the screws again
With no,
for
with the greatest respect to Usman, I
yeah.
hope Stephen might agree with this. Yeah, I did my serious version for a whole month.
There we
I
go.
did the serious,
Yeah, I
contemplative.
exactly heard clear and loud what Stephen had to go through, so it's okay. You don't need to
Have
justify
you
yourself.
seen the shows? What did you watch any of the
Yeah,
shows during Ramadan? Okay, so
yeah.
you know what
I
I
was,
went through.
of course, I was writing
Okay,
to you on one day when I was
I
almost
know. I
about to make
remember.
fast.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other thing
Yeah.
is, I never make joke at the expenses of my crew here.
There we go.
I don't. I'm a very respectful person.
Since
Of
when did
course
this
you are.
happen?
Of course you are.
Yeah.
Who
When did
said
this
you're
happen?
not?
Yeah. No one said that, but when did it happen? We,
Yeah.
we were off then.
But put me in a cigar lounge with people, I turn nasty.
Well, that's what this is. This is like our lounge. So,
Yeah.
but the nice thing is, so next week, everybody, the show goes back to normal. Hopefully, we have no rain. I can smoke my Don Emmanuel. I'm actually looking forward to it. I was telling him before you came on
Mm-hmm.
that they wrote about the flavor and palate of it and the aroma, and it reminded me of Davidoff, the Year of the Snake, the way RZA described it. So that when I reached out to them and they were like, "Oh, you must try it." I was like, "Where do I buy it?" And they're like, "We'll send." So I have. So I'm letting it cure, which I'm kind of glad I didn't smoke it yet because they sent it like with nothing to cure. So
Uh-huh.
now hopefully it'll cure. It'll be perfect. So it'll be an enjoyable smoke, and I can give it either. I would hate to smoke live on the air and say this is junk. I hope it's a wonderful smoke, so I can go, "This is a good smoke. I would buy this."
Yeah.
I would hate to be that guy, but we're going to give it an honest smoke next Saturday. I'm going to smoke the Robustos during the week, but the Churchill I'm saving for the show next week. So that'll
Sounds
be fun.
great.
We'll do Habanos history next week with
Yeah.
Usman. We've only teased that now since
The
the
brand, the
for a
brand
while.
that the brand that we'll be talking about next week would
Yes.
be Ramona Jonas because that was the brand that I was supposed to do before going, and we
You
were
mean,
not
wait a
able
minute.
to do it.
Do you mean this brand? Right. That's the brand, right?
Absolutely. So we'll do
Hey,
the
finally.
yeah. So finally, Reza's video is going to be used.
Then he's gonna have to make a new one. Or you know what you should just put? You should put Habano's history and the brand, and then he'll just talk about the brand. This way you don't have to do it
Yeah,
every week. But anyway, yes, so that'll be good.
yeah,
And then we'll talk about whatever else pops up. And then the fans now will get back into the show and they'll start typing because I think they're all getting over Ramadan as well. Because there's a lot
yeah.
of people watching, but no one's typing to us yet. I think they're all sort of like, oh, they're back. Oh, okay. I can start typing next week. So next
Yeah.
week, I'm sure the fans. And then what we've done, just so everybody knows, we
Well,
rebrought.
basically, what this means is
Yeah.
people watch the show for Usman.
Well, they do, of
That's
course.
what it means. I mean, it's a compliment, by the way. It's not even a
Yeah,
sideways compliment.
that's
They
yeah.
watch. They watch
Thank you
for
very much.
the.
Thank you
They
very much. But
watch.
I'm just like 15% of the show where I talk about the serious stuff. The fun part comes from Raza when he's
No,
talking about all the things in the world and
Yep.
especially his tributes to Donald Trump.
they're not. They're not. They're not tributes. They're not tributes. Here's the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Whether Donald Trump is in himself an important person or not, I mean, jury's out on that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, but he's in a position of importance. He's a position of
Yes.
power, as are most of the token world leaders, and some are token, some are really genuinely world leaders, right?
Right.
So when it comes to like, I grew up like in the last 50 years. I've always had it's like my psychological training is the USA is a very fucking powerful influence on the world, whether it comes
Right.
from politics, economics, media. I've watched US movies since I was like 2 years old, right? Yeah. So there is a little hope inside of me, a little hope that Donald Trump is a very smart guy and he's a discombobulator, and sometimes when you find yourself in a position of financial power, and it has to be financial power, I guess, yeah, that you will say, right, I'm going to put the world to right. I'm going to put my life to right. He's just a human being. He goes to the toilet, as I say, every 2 hours, just like everyone else
Isn't he
does,
like
right?
he
Okay.
could be like Missile Boy and never go. We don't know that.
Right.
So
So the hope, there's always a little hope that this person is smart enough. He knows, even when you put out these ridiculous things about tariffs or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
immigration or whatever it is,
Right.
I go back to one of my favorite pieces of literature, which is not fictional. It's very fact based. Is this
The Prince. I have that book. Sure.
Machiavelli? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now
Oh, it's not by Prince.
I find that virtually everything that Donald Trump does,
Yeah.
virtually every single thing, if you have read now the Prince, this is not a book that Machiavelli wrote. This
Yeah.
was a letter that he
Hmm.
wrote. He wrote a letter. It's almost like a CV to the ruler of Florence at that time, is one of the Medicis. I think it was Cosimo de' Medici. And he was writing a letter explaining to him how to get power,
Hmm.
retain power, and exercise power. That's what it was,
Yeah.
right? And it's
Yeah.
not very controversial things. People use that term Machiavellian as a sort of like a very, acerbic, assertive text. But one of the reasons I'm referencing this is because if you take the time, it's not the biggest, it's not a book, it's just a letter, it's a very long
Yeah.
letter. You see Donald Trump all over it. And whether
I
you
think
look
giving
at
him too much
American
credit.
generals, whether you look at people in business, they exercise certain rules for obtaining power, keeping power, executing power. Those three basic principles. And part of those rules involve, just like a game of chess, just like when you're fighting against an enemy on a battlefield, you don't tell the other side what you're going to do. You don't attack from the front, you attack from the side. I mean, they're basic principles, rules of engagement. Yeah.
Art of War.
And those rules of engagement often include telling lies. It says, I'm going to attack you from here, but then you attack them from there. That's how you win an attack. That's how you
Mhm.
do a deal. Um, and so the world, I'm sorry, Usman, just veered out of the cigars for 1 second, right? But this can come down to even the cigar industry, to be honest. There's always people right at the top who know what they're doing, and you and I are going to be the last people to find out what's actually going on, right? Okay, and there's a little bit of hope inside of me. Maybe it's misguided hope These people actually know what they're doing, and they want to discombobulate. And they no, that's fine. The jury's out, by the way. Jury's out. I'm
Right.
open. I'm open to all. Right, but there is some hope that someone is doing things in the right way. Um, let's see. Let's see over the next 5 years. Let's see over the next 10 years. I'm maybe not around by then, but certainly in 50 years' time or 100 years' time, when you look back at this as history, it
Right.
will be. I think it will be a turning point. Hopefully for good, because as we spoke before, when the world is so fucked up, something good eventually has to come along. You have to believe in things like that. Something good will come along and reset the balance. So even the person that's a force for disruption, either purposely or by accident, can turn out to be a force for good. So anyway, that's why
Okay.
I go on about this Trump thing. I don't think he's a fucking idiot. I don't think Trump is a fucking idiot. He may be behaving like a fucking idiot. I think that's what. Even though I don't particularly like Justin Trudeau, he gave a very that very diplomatic thing he said. He's a very smart man doing some very dumb things.
Mhm.
He said something like that, right?
Right.
About
I
Donald Trump.
listen at the end of the day, to your point, history will tell. There's a book called It Can't Happen Here. Guy Standing, a famous economist, was on our show. It's an interesting book. You should read that. Unfortunately, I've read The Prince. Um, I don't see. I see kind of your point, but I also have read books from the 1930s by another guy, and I see more of that. And a lot of Washington insiders see more of that than they see Donald Trump acting as the prince. Um, and to all of that, if Mr. Trump and or any of his people would like to come on our cigar show, they can smoke a cigar and have a dialogue with us. Not Cuban cigars, God forbid. But they can come on, like Marco Rubio. He would be fun to have on. I don't think the vice president would be fun to have on because we don't have a couch that he could sit on. But the Secretary of Defense, the CIA, then they could reach out to us on Signal, and we could discuss military secrets. It'll be fun. But yeah, if they want to come on the show, by all means, we would love to have them to have a dialogue about the cigar industry and their thoughts and stuff. That would just be 20 minutes of their time, But I don't think they get up this early. I think they're too busy, I don't think I think, 8 o'clock Eastern time for them won't work. But if they do, what the heck? Come on the show, guys. We invite them all the time. So we'll see. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But anyway, what I was going to say is the rebroadcast of the show is going to be at 7 o'clock at night, right after we do it. So basically 12 hours after the live gets the rebroadcast. So if you missed the live, go to the rebroadcast and you can subscribe and like. And then the podcast part of the show comes out on Sunday mornings. So you can catch us wherever you get anything on YouTube, Spotify, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on and on. So we're everywhere. And the podcast people love you. I get comments all the time. They love the guys. So that's good.
Thank you.
There you go. Hey, look at that. What? That's where you're pointing to. Is it time to go? Is it that time? We have to leave?
Yeah.
We have to go?
Yeah.
All right, then we're going to leave. All right, next week we can do Habano history. So all the people in the cigar industry that you've been waiting for, that will be it. You know what we didn't do today, and I feel really bad, is we didn't run the intro to the cigar show, but we will run the outro.
Okay.
Guys, have a great week. Everybody, don't forget to subscribe and like. We'll all be back next Saturday, where Usman will actually give a history of Cuban cigars, and REZA and I will just sit here and look pretty. That's our job. All right.
Cheers.
Fidel, have a wonderful day. And Gio, to everybody, Gio, and REZA, this is for you. Don't hang up after we run the credits. Yeah, here we go. All right, kids. See y'all later. Cheers. Have a good weekend.